They turn you into an other by calling you alt-right, and they've been doing this to fandom for years. They call it toxic fandom. Well, Taylor Swift is now being labeled as someone who has a toxic fandom, certainly somebody that for a long time people have known to have very, very dedicated fans that can sometimes go too far. This might in fact be one of these instances, because the article says, Taylor Swift fans sent me death threats, doxed my family, and accused me of being a PDF file after I criticized her Eras tour. So this guy had the temerity to say that it wasn't as good as Beyonce's last tour, and that was enough to cause fans to lose their crap and go after this guy. So he says, I was in line to order coffee when the death threats started flooding my inbox. At first, I wasn't exactly sure what they were about. Sadly for me, as with the job as a reporter, a quote, kill yourself and anti-gay slur could be about anything I've written, from stories on drag queens in Florida to Russia's war in Ukraine. But then I checked Twitter. Hundreds of messages from Swifties. Taylor Swift's dedicated fan base filled my notifications. Some were doxing my personal information. Others were predicting when and how I die. One said they were tracking down my friends and family. Anti-gay slurs filled my mentions. The worst came when a group of Swifties tried to mass email my boss and get me fired. Well, gee, this guy is clearly not aware that this has been going on for a long time now. This would actually be what a lot of people would have called cancel culture in 2018, 2019, which included starting rumors that I was a groomer in a PDF file. It was shocking. It was a shocking echo of a far-right talking point being peddled against LGBTQ people. What I think he's failing to realize.
Oh, no, I see. So he's on the side that talking about grooming is a far right thing.
But what he's saying is that like all of these things that would have normally been attributed to people that they would have called far right for criticizing the war in Ukraine, for criticizing all these other things.
So they're doing okay.
There's a $20 super chat from Corn Poops a Bad Dude. Says, long time caller, first time listener. Good show, guys. How does that work? How do you be a long time caller and a first time listener? Have you been dialing the wrong number all this time? That's impressive. Look, what I think they're coming to realize now.
No, I think he's saying like that is far right.
What?
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I understand. All right.
So, but what he's pointing out is that Taylor Swift fans are not far right. Mm-hmm. So maybe what they're failing to understand is that maybe people aren't just far right. Maybe some people are just awful people. And there is such a thing as extremely toxic fan bases. The problem is, where do you draw the line, right? One of the things that people on the left always do, especially journalists, is anybody who has any type of critique, if you tell them to please stick to the source material, if you say you're not casting accurately, that's called far right, and it labels you toxic fandom. Right? What he's realizing is that is not a phenomenon labeled directly for people that they would clarify as a right-wing personality. It's not right-wing. It's just people that take things too far.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think he's not realizing anything. I don't think. I think that's
what I'm saying is I'm hoping he realizes.
Okay. I was going to say that is a good insight, but I do not think that is one that he has been had the benefit of being enlightened by. I think he will learn nothing from this. He will learn nothing from this, and he will be his heels will dig in further towards the people that he already has animosity towards, and I don't know what the end of this saga will be, but it will be that these people are acting like bad people when they're not bad people. They're the bad people. It's just going to happen like that. That's how this is. That's going to be the takeaway for everybody else as well. It's like, wow, you're acting like right-wing people, the actual bad people who have nothing to do with this.
You are putting into words what I was figuring out in my head and didn't know how to say. But it sounds like a lot of teenage girls have too much time on their hands and have hormones flooding and have no idea of self-control or respect for other people.
Did you see that people
I get those crazy messages too. It's like people come after you for anything if they're a nut job.
It's just whatever they think will make you feel bad.
Yeah.
So even if you are normally an ally, you will go after that person for that because you're mad at them.
Never a mentally healthy person who sends you messages on Twitter to tell you to kill yourself. Ever. that is 0% of the time it is a sane person.
Xavier DeRusso would talk about this. Like he said, he gets more anti-black vitriol from people now than he ever did before, right? I want to talk more about the fandoms though, because what this guy's realizing is that we are in a culture now that has elevated parasocial relationships higher than I think we ever thought they would go, because I believe that as a society, we're extremely disconnected, we're heavily medicated, and we're lonely as a culture. And the internet provides a large amount of comfort to a lot of people. And what they're realizing is that that can go too far.
Yeah. Well, it's counterfeit closeness, really.
Yes.
It is. It strongly resembles it but without any of the, it's like a shelf-stable food that doesn't have any of the nutrients or things that you would actually get or grow from, but it resembles food. It feels like you're eating.
There are plenty of things that I eat where I'm like, that did literally zero.
Yeah.
It did negative things for me.
Yeah.
Like I am literally not just less healthy, but I'm hungrier now than I was before I ate whatever I was eating. I was explaining to Mary once what puff corn was, and I was like, it's literally air. It's literally just unhealthy air that you eat. And that's kind of what how I view a lot of these relationships. Look, people find solace in these groups because they don't have connections in the real world. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. What's interesting about it is it's actually, in a perverse and odd way, it's a strong compliment to Taylor Swift's ability as an artist to create music that resonates with people on an extremely visceral level. That she can create music that people connect with so heavily that they will then go to bat and threaten people who give her the mildest of critiques by saying that Beyonce had a better tour.
Do you think that would make her happy though?
That I would they in the article they reach out. They're like, we reached out to Taylor Swift and her associates for comments. Shockingly, they had no comment. Like, what would she say to that? Yeah. Like, is she supposed to be like, oh wow, good for them, thanks for sticking up for me, guys?
But if she was like, this isn't okay, I don't want people to do this, then what if they turned on her?
Well, I mean, her fans have already done that in some cases. They like, her fans feel a certain amount of ownership over her because of the parasocial relationship. Then there's this absolutely bonkers open letter that they wrote to her.
Is it the Union one?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. The Union one. This one's worse than the Union one, because the Union one was satire, or at least I perceived it as really, really good satire. But this
was
one
really good if it's satire.
There was another one where they basically they wrote her an open letter about how they should be able to have a say over who she dates, and saying like, you shouldn't be dating Maddie Healy, who she's since broken up with, because you're going against everything you stand for. He's anti-LGBTQIA plus this. He's bad for this. He's bad for that. And they're saying this and they're shaming her. It's an act of shaming. It's literally a night letter that they're leaving at her doorstep. And they're doing it in a way that they feel completely comfortable doing. But that's what happens when you push for this type of close relationship with your fans. She's about to become a billionaire on this tour. She's gonna become worth $1 billion by the end of this tour,
and she's gonna find the Titanic.
And she's exactly right. She's gonna have a show Eras Under Sea, and she's gonna have it down at the bottom of the Titanic, right?
She's gonna play the music,
and she will cover Celine Dion. My Heart Will Go On,
and Mark fight on Mars.
Well, he did.
She'll do the entertainment.
I'd be down for that. Look, I give her a lot of credit too, because I find her to be in an industry where people are becoming more and more lame, with Shawn Mendes calling off shows for mental health reasons. She just keeps adding dates and working harder, and I have a lot of respect for somebody who wants to work and works very, very hard, and is very, very good at what they do. And I do believe that she's very, very good at what she does. Even if it's not my type of music, I think that anybody who's that good at something should be complimented. Yeah. But in the article, he goes, I was shocked and chilled by how far it went, and it was to showcase the worst parts of stan culture, which is exactly what this is. I put a poll up today, guys. I said, who has the worst fans, the craziest fans? Is it Taylor Swift fans, BTS fans, or Disney adults? Do you guys have a vote on that?
Probably gonna have to say Disney adults.
I think they might be the most annoying, but I don't know if they're the worst.
Oh yeah, that's probably a better way.
We have a
They're the most surprising.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm almost leaning towards the Taylor Swift fans after this.
Yeah.
But I mean, this doesn't speak for all Taylor Swift.
No, of course
fans.
not. Nor-
I
and
think
nor
that's
should-
important. So I guess 100% of Disney adults are weirdos. I'm just kidding. But only a certain amount of the Swifties are crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even calling
Hard
them
to say.
even calling them Disney adults is a little bit rude because you're
I'm just playing
yeah.
around. I like some.
I
Disney
do it all.
movies,
I do it
so-
all the time. But I'm saying it's kind of like how they refer to them as billionaires. It allows you to
Yeah.
other them
Yeah.
in a way. So Unusable Alpaca says, I agree
They
with
call themselves that too, though. Sometimes, so it's
Okay, well, if they label them, like I say, I don't say the same about Swifties because they call themselves Swifties. I don't know if Disney adults call themselves Disney adults.
Many do.
So Unusable Alpaca says, I agree with you on withdrawal. I got hit by a car while on my motorcycle, and it's taken me 10 years of coming off the opiates slowly. I was really out of it there with much pain, with as much as I was abusing. Worst pain ever. Doing way better now. Well, dude, congratulations on doing way better.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that feeling is it's the worst. It is the time that I spent in rehab, the time I spent with detoxing from the opiates was an experience I would never want anyone to have to experience. If somebody did me wrong, I would still never want them to have to go through that. It was truly awful. Like not sleeping for a month and vomiting every 20 minutes to the point where all you're throwing up is just water, and not being in every minute feels like an hour, and your body feels like it's constantly being pricked with pins and needles and phantom aches and pain, and not having a physical correlation as to why you have a psychological correlation. You know your body is coming off of substances, but not having a physical correlation to a pain that's literally just all over and feels never ending. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, and it's truly awful. But I'm glad, man, that you're doing better, because no one should have to go through that. It's also one of the things that's hardest for me to reconcile with, because I'm also very I think the drug war is awful, and I think it's done nothing but cause problems. But at the same time, I understand what a problem addiction is, and it's one of those things I kind of have to constantly evaluate my priorities with, how much do I actually want people to have access to this stuff. I do believe as adults it's nobody's business what you put in your body, but at the same time
It only is when it has externalities.
Yeah.
If you can't function and you affect other people negatively, then that's where the line should be drawn. But
or if you have kids.
yeah, and it's
you're
I would
impacted.
say I understand what you mean, but I'm against the drug war as well. That doesn't mean there shouldn't be some war on it. It's just, is it a moral war or is it a legal war?
Yeah. Well, legal war is what we've seen. It's certainly not about morals, and has not been for a while. He says, so he goes on, he says, if you've said something they, and by they I mean these participatory communities, don't like, their approach is to try and impugn and indict you, Thomas said. You know what it is? I feel like a lot of it is people have, social media has done this too. Maybe people didn't identify as much with these celebrities before they had such access to them. So when you slight them, they're having a hard time differentiating between a slight on you and a slight on them and a slight on the performer.
Like it's such a huge part of their identity.
It's well, how dare you insult this person that I love so much, right? Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.